Kawasaki SXRs in NorCal, and let him, total stranger, hop on the ski, and he said, well, I like that a whole lot better than this thing. And the next thing you know, we got to chatting, and Robert and I actually ended up racing endurance together for about 5 years on a Honda, believe it or not. Can you believe that? But anyway, Mr. Ferris, what have you been up to lately? Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions here on mic? How's life treating you?
Oh, life's good. I'm out here today. I rode my 550 SX and down here watching races. Came to see the Chambers boys ride. Fun to see Brenda and Art.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome people. I was talking to Brenda Chambers earlier, and unfortunately, she's not going to be racing. I know Talon's going to be out there. Is Art going to step up to the plate today and put a few laps in?
I haven't heard from him if he's going to be riding or not. I keep trying to put a prod in him, see if he'll join in at the Worlds or not. But I always ride at the Worlds, but not during the races.
Well, I will tell you, if you haven't, did you go to World Finals last year? Okay, so you saw the packed lines for the vintage class races, right?
I did, and I've got some new friends riding in that group.
Throw out some names. Drop a few names for us. Who's your new friends in the vintage class?
Well, I'm rooting for Anna in the Jet Girls.
Nice job, Anna Glennon, who's been, man, I'll tell you what, that old girl really knows how to market herself. It's good to see somebody putting out such a positive performance, not only on the water, but in publications. She really, really bends over backwards to try and be a great ambassador for our sport, so I'm pretty impressed with her. But anybody else notable that you would call out in that vintage class?
No, not really. I'm still so interested that we've got so many riders that have been riding for years, Kid McCluggage and Riz and all the different people that have been around for just ever since I was announcing jet skiing. So it's been a long time.
Now, for those of you that don't know this young gentleman here, maybe you could give us a quick summary of what your history is in the watercraft industry, because you have a pretty rich history.
Well, I saw jet skis and started riding them in 1972. So 42 years ago. Been around a long time.
And, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm supposed to look at the camera now. So they had my best side before. But I started in 72. I went to work part-time in the R&D department on that. When the jet ski division was formed, I was hired as a marketing special. And so I did on-water promotions and headed up the Tropical Blend jet ski tour and worked with the research and development team, development of new products.
So let me translate that for you folks. That means that Mr. Ferris got to go out with hot chicks in bikinis sponsored by a tanning oil company to play on water scooters and introduce our product to the general consensus, right?
Well, you make it sound so good when in reality it was better than that.
Yeah, Clayton Jacobson, the guy who designed the jet ski, he was pissed. He wanted your job.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the early Tim McKercher to me. Tim McKercher, of course, of Sea-Doo fame, now has his own marketing company called Look Marketing out of Florida, and I know that he's doing the current Sea-Doo campaign for their new watercraft, the Spark, which is a great entry-level watercraft. You worked for Kawasaki, though, right?
Yes, I worked for Kawasaki from 1970 until 82. So I was fortunate enough. I worked in research and development on both motorcycles and on jet skis, and was there in the beginning of the jet skis, was there when the division started, was fortunate enough to get my picture used as a poster for 3 years, and just about every accessory that Kawasaki made, life vests, trophies, towels, whatever. So I became famous for it. So I also announced the races. So I announced the national races in Newport, in Lake in Nebraska, and the national races, first races in Lake Havasu.
Wow, really? I bet you've seen some crazy stuff go down over the years.
I have, and most of them I can't talk about.
I always say that, if we got together and wrote a book about the stuff that you know, the stuff Kurt knows, the stuff that Don Dawson knows, and Mike Young, we could probably make a comfortable living blackmailing a lot of people in this sport, but everybody knows all of our money goes into the boats. So,
That's right.
Kurt, what's going on out here on the water?
Well, you know what? The 5, 6, 7 class is just ending. As yesterday, and Bob Ferris, a joy to see you again. Hopefully, we'll come back. You'll come back and see us at some of the other events. Okay, check us out at djsaracing.com. Ben Shembry, who was, I think first overall yesterday, first overall again today in the first moto. So Shembry Real Estate and Jet Ski Repair, starting off the day with a win. And frankly, I was as enthralled as you were with Bob. You know, Bob and I worked together in the late 90s, in his second or third career, trying to get some stuff into one of the distributors I worked for, Western Power Sports, also known as the home of fly racing, which we see out here now with a lot of fly stuff. I used to be responsible for that, and Bob was Bob knows you're a popular guy when you've got free stuff to give away.
I remember when I met you, you were a rep for Western Power Sports, and you were the dude to know. Everybody wanted to know Kurt Nolenberg, not only because he was so much fun to hang out with, but I think they thought they might be able to kiss some booty and get sponsorship.
And you know what? There were so many people with bad breath. Having said that, you know what? I've always been about racing of every sort since, 8 years old. And, a racer who gives back to their sponsors is a rare individual. And those that I was lucky enough in that portion of my career to work with a lot of people who really did give back. Not only did they use the product, but they put the stickers out. They tell other people about it. And, Jeff Trogner.
Jeff had to leave. He's not here.
No. Yeah. But he was one of the guys that, started out with Fly and did a really good job for us, put us on the national tour with some other riders. Anyway, we did well enough that Fly Racing is still in the watercraft, Western Power Sports still in the watercraft industry, as so many others have gone by the wayside.
Yeah, and tons of support over the years.
Yeah.
Just really, really consistently there for us.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're still at Havasu or not, but boy, we did that for 10 years while I was there.
You were a good representative.
Thank you for that.
Even though you're usually a bad example, you were a great
representative.
Whoa.
Speaking of bad and badassing, on that number 700 boat, Eric Hewitt flying out of the gate.
Wow.
Hewitt, where is he going? He's going inside split. Where is it going? Yeah,
somebody
and on the outside.
That boy's nipple. Look at him go.
That is Pete Zernick on the outside, I do believe. Is that Ian Roberts right behind him?
Man. That is actually Ian Roberts in first place and Pete Zernick in second on the outside. You see the signature style of Roberts? Or is that, wait a minute.
No, that is Eric Hewitt.
No, who's on the 18 boat, though?
On the 18 is Chris Wadier.
That is Chris Wadier.
So Wadier goes down. Hewitt stays up. Everybody making the pass around him. Great job for these guys.
Great job by Team Orange.
DJSA racers, Lisa, I know you haven't seen it before, but in person, I know you've seen it online. These guys immediately, when they see somebody go down, everybody moves off to the side, slows down, puts their hands up.
Yep.
Or at least a finger up.
And, the thing that I really, really like is if there actually is a serious accident, which is very rare here at DJSA, one of the things that I really like is I understand you folks, when you red flag a race, everybody cuts their engine, and they'll sit dead in the water until they can get the injured party off the water, which as a rescue specialist for so many years, I can tell you that utilizing that backboard in the water and extricating your patient, making sure that they're safe, that they're secure and stabilized. They're not going to get injured worse by being dragged in like a bag of potatoes.
Right,
These
bounced
guys are
around,
trained
having other
professionals.
skis go by him at 60 miles an hour. And speaking of 60
yeah.
miles an hour,
Amazing.
look at our leaders coming through here now.
Holy
Pete
moly.
Zernick has moved up. Ian Roberts has moved into second. Here's Eric Hewitt, who, by the way, saved Chris Wattier's helmet by quick movement. Absolutely phenomenal job on his part. And who just made the move on him? Somebody just made the move on Eric Hewitt and came flying by. That couldn't be Wattier already. Absolutely ridiculous. Maybe it is. It looked like Wattier's positioning. I couldn't believe he'd catch up that quickly, but maybe.
Well, you never know, and I was just talking to Chris right before I got here. I actually earlier, let me back up. I was talking to Ian Roberts earlier today about how well he ran yesterday, and I had to comment. I've known Ian since he was his first race. He was 15. He's one of the sweetest, most laid-back guys that you'll ever meet. But once he's on the water, he's incredibly competitive. However, I have never, ever seen him ride as aggressively as I have this weekend. Very clean, but incredibly aggressive. And I asked him how he thought things might change up today with Tregner being out of the mix. He had to leave to go back to work. And he says, oh, no, Chris Wattier is coming out. And I said, well, how do you think he'll fare? And he goes, well, I'd like to say he's going down, but I don't know. I haven't ridden with him in a while, so I have to see what he's got. And it seems to me like Chris Wattier he's pulling a bunch of tricks out of his bag here. Look at him go. Wow.
That is that Dylan Alexander there? It is Dylan Alexander up in that third place spot. He has moved up like crazy. And there is Chris Wattier. Yes,
Chris
sir.
Wattier now coming across the start-finish line on that beautiful 702 boat. He is riding like a man possessed.
That's Thomas Pageant on that 702,
Oh,
I
I'm
do
sorry.
believe. Yeah, and the Dylan Alexander up in fourth place on that 288 boat. Gorgeous-looking boat. You remember he had a 0 on it yesterday? I'm wondering if Coker Graphics did a little job on him yesterday afternoon.
I think he had a little drive-through wrap job last night on the race site, which is pretty impressive. Not only does it look great, but for them to be able to come out and bust out a wrap on site, it's a beautiful job they did.
Yeah.
They're still here, aren't they? Aren't they located over there next to Pete Zernick's trailer?
I believe they are. I frankly haven't made it over there yet. White flag coming out. One lap to go. Ian Roberts still with the lead. In second position, Pete Zernick. Zernick looking over, seeing the white flag. You could just feel him pull the trigger another 1/8 inch into that grip. He is locked, cocked, and gone.
Hewitt coming across the start, finished on the 700 boat, but right on his tail is a 186 boat of?
Yeah, that's right. It's Jeff Loader. The Loadmeister, Loaderama, Loaderific.
And on that 8 Hydrospace?
And is Mike Hackler.
Nice job.
Hackler going to it. Wattier starting to move up as Thomas Pageant trying to chase Wattier around. And, at this point, most of these boats are going just about the same speed. But, boy, I'll tell you, the difference between getting out front early in one of these races in any one of our classes, less so in the big runabouts, but with most of them, still huge advantage to be out in that clean water.
And you want to
Although,
talk
as I
about
say clean water, Lisa.
The wind just came up, and it is going to get rough real quick. But
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Pete Zernick.
Pete, are we missing
Pete's
a buoy
having an
out there?
issue. Did he miss a buoy? No, it looks like he may have gone back and picked it up, but I'll tell
No,
you
but
what.
a buoy is moved.
It cost him some time, and that's really sad because he was definitely coming right up on our lead rider.
Yeah, we've got a floating buoy out there. That's where the problem is.
We're going to
on the yellow course on the inside.
Have to take a pause for the cause while they repair that, and Team Orange is going to go out and take care of that. We're going to be looking at Race 3, which is
X2
our
Army.
X2 Army Expert. They are in staging now, so that means that with the completion of this 900 Expert Stand class, if you are in Race 4, you need to come to staging now. Race 4, which is our Legends Stand-Up class, 800 Novice Stand-Up, you need to come to staging now. In staging currently is race 3. Again, it's our X2 Army class, and that includes, you want to head down the list with me?
Hit it.
Well, we're going to be looking at Steve Gerling out of
Excuse
Lockford.
me. That is current world champion Steve
That's
Gerling.
right, yeah. Very impressive. Out of Lockford, California. Sponsored by Galt Machine and Welding, Spy, Boys and Reeds, GoPro, Lucas Oil, DJSA, ODI, Leap Braces, and Rad Dudes, the guys back east, and Jet Trim.
Sweet. On the 007 machine. No, we don't call him James Bond. We call him John Bond, John Dewar, the General, out of Concord, California, sponsored by his own wallet, and, of course, our very own DJSA Racing.
Also hailing from Concord, California, on the 22 boat, sponsored by the General, Arnold Angeles Racing, DJSA, the Tuner's Den, Dallas Cowboys, the DJSA, Angeles Racing, America's Team. I'm sure he'd love it if I threw another Dallas Cowboys sponsorship in there. Team Ski and Team Waterfly is Johnny De La Rosa on the 22 boat. Backing him up will be the other white meat, Doug Wolf, on the 33 boat out of Modesto, California. And Doug Carty Wolf is sponsored by the Ski Clinic, M&M Marine, DK1 Designs, Scat Track Performance Products, HydroTurf Traction Products, Modesto Battery, Hurricane Industries, his own wallet, and Team Wilson Racing.
I'll tell you what, just to fill out the last one here on the 330, Jesse Wilson out of Granite Bay. He is sponsored by Wilson Brothers Racing, Team Wilson, Impros, Commander Jet Pilot, PWC Graphics, Doug Wolf, and Bob Wilson. And now, a message from our sponsor. Through me. Eric Hewitt. Right. Wow, Safe Racer of the Day Award going out to Eric Hewitt, who...
he's going home with $100 cash in his pocket.
Yep.
Nice job, Mr. Hewitt.
It's really... we call it the Safe Rider. I call it the helmet restoration.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Now that it's hard for me to grasp the fact that Eric is no longer 15, he's actually old enough to buy the first round with that $100 for all.
Sweet!
So cocktails on Eric Hewitt. Nice job. Congratulations for being the Safe Rider of the Day. You go home with an extra $100 in your pocket, Eric Hewitt.
Gotta love it. And that is DJSA Racing. At the heart of it, it's all about safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is all about safety.
That was definitely a class move. You know, I sponsored Eric on my little SXR for 3 years as a junior.
Yes, you
and that
did.
kid has always made me really, really, he's not a kid anymore, but always very proud.
Oh, he'll always be one of our children.
He refers to me as his demented den mother.
Did you say dead mother or den mother?
Demented den mother.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, you know, I heard John Cook yelling out behind us, "Did you see that? That guy saved his life." And you're right, Cookie. Yeah. He was quick reactions. Good job, Eric Hewitt. You know, he don't want to hurt one of his buddies. And phenomenal job there, Eric. Well, way to go. Up next, as they're finishing our boy, let's go through our X2 Army. Actually, with X2 Army on the line in staging, that means you're in the water and you're headed over there next to the start line. We should have our legends, Dan Nolden, or our 800 novice stands, Eric Stegman, Jody and Chuck Evans, Will Dewar, Mitch Jonas, and Matthew Rawlings. Guys, all of you should have your